welcome back. So the whole online live thing is just not working well, and so until I can get some new equipment in here and get my internet service upgraded, we're just going to kind of do it with a recorded video. Now, whether or not that means that they will be every day, I'm not quite sure yet. We'll just have to see how things go. So what I want to do is kind of pick up where we left off yesterday. We talked about getting our designs put onto, guess I'll set that one down there for a second. Get our designs put onto the metal. Now, in this case, I have used 4 different methods. So we did rubber cement, white glue, a glue stick, and also a sticker maker. Now, things that other people have also tried is they have done like a spray adhesive, where they would spray the adhesive onto the back of their design and put that on there. I've also seen where people will print on a label and then take that and also put that onto their design or onto their metal as well. Now, things that I would warn against is getting your design too close to the edge or cutting away that paper too close to your design. And the reason for that is because when we go in to start cutting this, it can lift up and make things a little bit difficult that way. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Now, first thing we need to do when we're getting ready to pierce this is I need to mark holes where I'm going to insert my saw blades. And to do that, I'm going to use a center punch and a hammer. All right, so now that I have this laid here, what I'm going to do is use a center punch, and in each hole that I want to pierce out, I need to create a divot. Okay, so I want a center punch that's fairly sharp as far as its point goes. And all I'm doing is just giving a gentle tap. And the reason that I do this is so that when I bring in my drill bit, then my drill bit is not going to skitter around. All right, and it looks like now, oh, I missed one right there. So we'll get that. So now I have a divot in each one of those little holes that I then want to pierce out. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my micromotor, and I have a 1mm drill bit. These happen to be a Bush drill bit. They have the 3/32 mandrel on them. So that makes it so that I can use my flex shaft, or with a quick change handpiece, or I can use my micromotor that also has a quick change handpiece. Now when I do this, I also want to put a little bit of burr lube on. Also make certain that you are wearing your eye protection. I'm going to pull this down here onto my bench pin, and I'm just going to come right in and just kind of drill right down into that metal. And this is where it comes in handy to have that little divot so that it does not skitter out of it. And now we're ready to go. So now that there are all of the holes in here, we have to determine which size of saw blade to put in here. And before we do that, maybe we want to talk a little bit about frames. So there are, and you'll notice that I have my 2 littles joining us again as they learn this. So there's a number of different saw frames that are out there. Matter of fact, let me zoom out and I'll show you just a few of them that I have here. So if you look here, you'll see that I have quite an assortment of saw frames. Now, do you need all of these? Absolutely not. Do you want all of them? Probably. Because you can never have enough, right? It's like your hammers. Can you have enough saw frames? So what I want to show you, though, is that there are different styles, but really they're all going to work kind of off of the same concept. So here I've got 2 that only have a 2-inch throat. And the throat is from the front here to the back of our spine. And that is going to obviously be for smaller pieces. This one is kind of our normal German and French style. And then this one is a little fancier one that is made by Kevin Potter. Does it work any better? No, but you look totally awesome using it. And it's much heavier. It's very rigid, okay? And there's two different sizes that I have of that particular saw frame. Definitely not inexpensive on those. So, but again, they're going to work kind of on the same premise, and I'll show you guys that here in just a second. Other saw frames that I really like, this is one that you guys may find common, a lot of people talk about. This is a Green Lion saw frame, where we've got this nice, see here, it creates a nice rigid backbone on it, and it's very lightweight.
It's called a Green Lion. I have a lion blanket and I have a lion toy.
Yep, but they're not green.
But they could be green.
There you go. They could be green.
They dye them, but I wouldn't dye them.
Something.
Like.
I don't understand.
Like, not like dye, like put them in coloring stuff.
Yeah, put them in coloring and stuff, and then color them up.
Be green.
Yes. Now these two frames, and I actually have one that's even larger than this. These are the new Concepts frames. This is actually one of the originals. When they very first came out with them, this is the one that I got at that point in time. And they've made several changes to them, including this cam lever adjustment. And it's actually really nice. You just put your saw blade in, you pull the cam lever back, you get it adjusted for tightness, and then you're ready to go. And all I ever have to do is when I get a new blade, I just pop it in, pull that lever back, and I'm ready to go. Like, I don't have to sit and do all the adjustments that I have to do with some of the others. The original one is a little different because I just have to use this tensioning screw up here to create the tension on my blade. Now, when I talk a little bit about that, well, actually, before I show you that, I want to show you guys one other style of frame, and it's a Swiss style. So this is a little bit different than some of the others in that instead of using kind of a washer here to hold our blade into place, there are just holes here, very similar to what I have in the new Concepts. So I would just insert my blade into there, tighten these up, and then you'd be ready to go, assuming your tension is set correctly. So let me move a couple of these out of our way and let me show you what I'm talking about in setting up your saw blades. So in this case, let me just start here with our Green Lion saw. Now, when it comes time to inserting your saw blade, there is a difference, and you kind of have to see how they go. So now there are little itty bitty teeth on this blade, and you can't, it's really hard to see them, isn't it?
Oh, I see them.
Do you see them?
You can't see them on the...
Yeah, you're definitely not going to be able to see them on the screen. But the thing is you want those teeth to point out, so away from your saw blade or your saw frame, and you also want them to point down. So if I run my finger down the blade, I don't really feel much of anything. But if I run my finger up, it's going to catch. Okay, and you guys, hopefully you can see that a little bit. Okay, so that's telling me that it's in the right way. So when I bring my saw blade down, it means it's going to cut, but when I come up, there is no cutting action. It only cuts on that downstroke.
Yeah,
so what we need to do is we need to make certain that one, the blade is inserted in the right place, but then we also need to, Kate, will you switch the camera, please, that top one. So what we also need to do is make certain that we've got the blade in properly. Okay, so we talked about the direction, but to load a blade, so let me loosen these up. So we have these little wing nuts out here, and in every saw blade or every saw frame, you're going to have some variation of that kind of a wing nut, whether it's a knob or whatever else.
So
It's like lead.
So you could just put it like just in and then saw into it, or could you put it in the holes?
In this case, we're going to have to put it in the holes.
Mom,
But I want to show you how to set up your saw blade first. What?
it's almost like lead that could break very easily, except instead of it going snap, it'll go like snap.
You think? I don't know. So these are they're really thin. Can you imagine that we cut metal with that?
Lead.
It does look like a little pencil lead, doesn't it? So it's very, very thin.
Yeah, mechanical.
So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to make certain that my teeth are sticking out and that they're pointing down. So then I'm going to come in and I insert the bottom portion of my blade, okay, and I'm going to use that top. So remember that there's these two little washers. So I've tightened it here on the bottom, and now we need to get that seated in between the screw and the two washers here at the top, or well, the frame and then the washer. And now I could just tighten this, but if I tighten this, listen to this. That is a terrible sound. My blade is too loose.
It's almost like my cello. Like if you have something touching it, it's like
Yeah.
it won't work well. Like A would be like ding, and then if it would cover it up, it would go like ding,
Yep.
or something like that.
Well, but see how this blade moves?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we need to not
That's
have this
because
blade
it's
move.
not strong.
It's not tight. So what we do, and now a lot of people will put this right here in their sternum and they'll push forward. But you know what you do? You know what happens with that?
It could go.
You get a bruised sternum. Exactly. So what I like to do, okay, hold on, watch. What I like to do is I will hold on to the handle and I'm going to push forward, but to give myself a little bit more, I'm going to push my body up against my arm so that this really never actually touches my sternum. So no more bruised sternum for me. But I am going to lean forward. There's actually it's not even touching me. I'm going to lean forward, and what happens is it closes up the throat on our saw frame. And now I'm going to tighten. When I let go, it's going to put the tension on that blade. Now listen.
It's almost like you're tuning a guitar.
Mm-hmm. But that's what we want to hear. We want to hear that nice, tight, high ping.
A saw.
Now, is it possible to tighten it too much?
Yes.
What would happen if you tighten it too much?
It'll go.
Saw break.
Oh yeah, you start to saw and it's gonna, especially if your blade is thinner.
If you go, it'll go. So like here it is, break.
Yep.
It's not like.
It doesn't actually bend. It just goes pop.
I've had that happen before.
Yes, you have. Kate has done some piercing before. Okay, so now that we have, yeah, and the blades. So the blades. Do you know how many are in a pack of blades? Like you never buy just one saw blade.
That'd be stupid.
It'd be great if all we had to ever buy is one. But they come in packs of 12, and I usually buy by the gross. Do you know what a gross is? Wrong kind of gross. It's not that kind of gross. Do you know what a gross is?
I don't remember exactly.
12 packs of 12 blades. So there's 144.
When you say gross, it makes me think like it's close to grows.
Yep.
Like you're growing something.
Yes.
Almost. But then
So,
again, it's like
you are going to have a lot of blades that come into this, all right? So now, at this point, I would be ready to come in and start to cut.
How expensive is just a 12-pack?
Good question. How expensive is a 12-pack? It depends entirely on the kind of blades you buy. So there's sizes and there's
what
different
about
brands.
blades like that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually not even sure which one this is. This is probably one of my laser gold blades.
Laser gold.
Laser gold is a brand from Rio Grande.
It's almost like a laser. But it's gold.
Yep.
And golden burns that copper. I'm just making that.
So you have a lot of different brands out there. I have a couple here that I'm going to be testing out in my studio this week. Some are from Glardon Valorbe, and then I also have some super pikes that are from Grobet. And those are both, so the ones from the super pikes are actually made in Switzerland. So they're really nice. So the Swiss ones and the German blades tend to be really good. You want to be very careful with some of the off-label brands. And really, it's just going to have to be a kind of a test. You have to decide, what you have, and then just try a few packs out. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but you'll really start to figure out what works best for
I
you.
think when you started sawing, it was still on that.
That's okay. Not a problem. So
see?
now it's okay for now. So the other thing that we want to talk about then is our blade size. So it's kind of interesting with saw blades, because let's say that we have a 0 point right here, and then there's a whole bunch of the blades that go on this side and a whole bunch that go on this side. So if this is our 0 point, as we move to the right, hang on, as we move to the right, so if we start at 0, when we come to the right, we only have 1 0. That would be a 1/0 or a 1/0. As we move to the right more, there's 2 0. So it's a 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, 5/0, all the way out to 10/0. Now that means that there are 10 zeros. As we go down that 0 line and that number gets bigger, our blade gets finer. So if it's 10/0, that means that there's 10 zeros. It's a really, really fine blade. There's lots of teeth in 1 inch, and it's itty bitty. Like that one, I swear those suckers break if you look at them wrong. Then on the other side, as we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 8 again, the blade is going to get thicker and bigger, and the teeth are going to become more prominent.
What happens if you put the teeth in like the other side? It won't saw?
It won't cut. Correct.
So
hang on just a second. Let me finish this. So what happens is as you work through these different sizes, you want to match that up to your metal. An ideal blade size for the most efficient cut is going to be 3 teeth per the thickness of your metal. So if I take my metal and I lay it up against this, I want to see 3 teeth there. 2.5 to 3 teeth. Now, if I am working on a much more intricate design, so if I've got something with very, very small cutouts, very tight corners, I'll actually go even smaller than that. So because I do actually cut a lot of more intricate pieces, my preferred saw blade size is a 5/0. Most people will prefer a 2 or 3/0. Now this is 18 gauge, so I really should be cutting easily with a 2 or a 3/0. And there's a lot of different charts that are out there, and I'll try to remember to link one down in the description for you. But anyway, so that's kind of what you want to look for when you're looking for that. Now, we have designs on the inside here that we want to cut out. So what do I need to do, Kiara? Where do I need to put this blade? I need to put the blade inside of one of those holes, right? Because if I cut into it, then I'm going to cut through my design, and that's not what I want to have happen. Yeah. We've got our blade in here correctly, so my teeth are pointing.
You missed a hole.
I know, it's okay, I did. So my teeth are pointing down, and my blade is pointing out. So what I'm going to do
I see how you keep it in there.
Is I'm going to thread this into one of the holes.
That makes sense.
Yes, now here's the other part.
Now I see how you keep it in. There's like that thing.
Yeah, it holds in here.
How do you keep it in?
Okay, hang on just a sec. So what I want to do is I want to make certain that my pattern is facing up. So now what I like to do is I will pull this all the way back to the back end of my blade so that when it rests here, it's not going to put weight here and throw off my tension. So put it all the way here to the back. I'm going to kind of hold it. And now I'm going to again push forward on my frame. Get that blade in there. Test my tension. I'm not quite there. It's still a little bit, still a little too low for me.
Sounds exactly the same.
That one did, didn't it?
That one sounds a bit different.
There we go. So I just want to make sure that we've got some decent tension on there. Now, what I'm going to do, yep, so see how I've got this V cut here in my bench pin?
Yeah, but do you cut along the design?
I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently come in here. Now this one goes right into a corner, and so I'm just going to kind of work my way through this. I'm going to turn this around.
Oh,
and you want to keep your saw frame.
It's almost like sewing, except it doesn't put
a thread in?
Yeah. It's like when the needle goes up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yep. So now I've got one little section done. I'm going to pull this out, move it over to another one. Same type of thing.
Can I after this one, can I move it to another one?
You want to move it to another one for me?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to saw it because if I did, I would be afraid to hurt.
Well, I think we've got some other exercises you can use for a saw. So on this one, and let me zoom this in just a little bit so you guys can kind of see here the design that I'm cutting out. So you'll notice that I have some sharp corners here. So what I'm going to do, first thing, I'm going to work myself into a corner. Now, if you have not gone very far, a lot of times you can back it out and back it back into that hole. Thank you. But I can't right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this corner. To turn a corner, you go up and down, but you don't really move. Okay, this one's starting to move on me though. But you just are going to kind of go up and down as you turn that corner. It's okay. As we turn that corner. Okay, shh. It's all right. So now I'm here to another corner. So again, I'm just going to kind of work my blade up and down as I move my piece. And every now and then I just kind of lift my piece up and let it relax and let it reseat itself. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so now I've got another corner I've got to turn. There we go. And we just want to follow right along that line. And notice that I'm moving both my piece and my saw frame. Okay, when I learned, I was told that you always just keep your saw frame in one place and you just kind of work through. Yeah, so there's our piece for now. Yep, so that one turned out pretty good. No, they can't see that, honey. You're too close.
See that shiny thing?
Pull it right here. Look, put it right here and they'll be able to see it. There you go.
Very small.
It is very small.
You guys might not be able to.
You don't want to step on those.
No, you definitely don't want to step on those. So then the next thing we do is we just move to the next one. So as you can imagine, when you have a delicate piece like this, it's going to take a little more effort to do it, a little bit more time.
So if you got plenty of time, which most of us do with the quarantine, you should be able to do this.
Well, it's definitely going to give you some good practice, that's for sure.
Patient.
Well, and I would highly suggest that you start off, if you're just learning how, to pierce.
What was that?
I pulled it back and it just kind of caught on the metal a little bit.
And then it went pink.
Right. Now notice also that I'm not going fast.
For me to get out of the way, please.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm not going fast. I am taking my time. Okay. So let's pull this back here again. Okay. There we go. So again, I'm just going to take it out and move it.
Too zoomed out now.
No, it's okay for now. Because it gives them.
So small.
I know. So, but they at least get to see how I do it. So each time I want to test that. Now, another thing that you should do too, when you're doing this, is run this through some kind of a lube.
Foam.
It does, huh?
Run it through the butter.
Now, there's a number of ways that people will do this part. You can either put it on the blade on the front. I like to run it down so that it doesn't clog up inside of my teeth. Because some people will pull it down, and now my teeth are full of the lubricant.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
Well, I find that when I go to pierce something, like it gets in the way because it all starts to come out. See all that now?
Yeah.
See that? So I find that it gets in my way. It's okay. So another thing that some people will do is they will lubricate the back of the blade.
Oh, yeah.
So that way it helps the back of that blade.
How do you know which side the sharp teeth are on?
Well, if you loaded your saw frame right, then the teeth are always on the front side.
Oh, I can see them.
Right? So.
What if you can't see them?
Well, if you can't see them, then you have to feel it. Yeah, and you'll definitely, you'll want to feel it with your fingers.
Yourself?
No, because look.
Won't you get metal in it?
You can. I mean, it's possible, but look,
Get
give me your
metal
finger.
in your finger.
You're not going to do it very hard. See how you can feel those teeth that way? But if you come this way, you don't really feel it.
Oh, but it does massage my finger.
It massages your finger.
I got metal on my finger now.
You're okay. So anyway.
I'm gonna wash it in case. Because I don't want to get metal stuck in my finger.
Okay.
I don't want to get slivered.
Okay. Anyway, so hopefully that kind of helps you guys. Now, when it comes time to sitting at, let me remove this so I don't break my blade when I set this down. When it comes time to, you know, where do you sit when you're working with your bench pin? Now, in this case, this one happens to be a little bit low for what I'm doing. Where's my seat? There we go. So typically, I like my bench pin, I would actually prefer it to be a little bit higher. My table's a little bit low and my stool is as low as it can go. I like my bench pin to be kind of, if I bring my arms up at a 90 degree to my body, that's where I would like my bench pin. So this one's about 2 inches too low for me, but it's okay. You want it about chest height is where you kind of want that. And that's going to give you the less fatigue from bending over or having to kind of work yourself in a different position so that you can hold your frame and your blade correctly. Kate, what questions do you have? I know that we've already gone through a lot of piercing stuff. You've done quite a bit already. You have any questions on any of the stuff we covered?
So what if you can't have it any higher? Like you have to have it lower? Then what do you do?
So that's actually a good question. So there's, you can kind of work with this. Like this, I would still be able to work with. You know, this is okay.
But like, what
if it's much lower than this, it's not, you're going to have to find a different way. Either to lift this up, and there are some different products that are out there. A matter of fact, let me see if I've got one right here. One of my friends makes an awesome tool. Here we go.
I'm a bit cool now.
Okay. So this is made by Robin Cornelius, and she owns Little Rock Jewelry Studio, and it is an adjustable one. So what I would do is I would take a C-clamp here and I would just clamp this onto my bench, and then I would be able to raise and lower this so that I can get it into the proper position for where I'm sitting. So that's an option. There's a number of products that are out there. Do you want to put that back, please? That are like that. Okay. Otherwise, you might want to look.
I think this one is almost like chest height.
Yeah, I think we would probably bring it down just a little bit lower, but that's probably about right for you. But other things that you would look at doing is either getting a different tabletop or kind of like a kitchen cart or something like that that you could have that would be a little higher, or you get a different stool that will bring you down a little bit lower. But it is, if you are going to be doing a lot of piercing, it is a kind of imperative that you get it at the right position so that you don't cause damage to your body while you're doing some of this.
And so you don't go poop.
Right. Oh, and then do you guys know what else is really kind of hard about having these out here sometimes?
Ow. You run into them.
Yes.
What?
Okay, I cannot tell you how many times I have bruised my hip or my thigh or something like that.
What happened?
You run into these. So I have on my benches, I have the interchangeable mounting plates where I can then come in here. Actually, this one's been hammered down kind of low. Hand me this mallet. So I have mine where I can come in here and I can just remove them. There we go. Okay, so whenever possible, I will remove this, take it off, put it somewhere else so that I don't walk into them, especially if I don't have it sitting on a bench like that with a curved.
I learned to avoid them.
The other thing that's really hard is when you drop a stone or something like that and you're working on your bench pin, you come up and believe me, lots of jewelers have cracked their heads on those. Yours truly included.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's not very fun.
Wait, they can go bonk.
Oh yeah, and then as you go down, sometimes you bonk your head too. So
Yeah.
You-
like
you-
I've not had that
someday I
happen.
could go bonk.
yeah, you start to be very aware of your bench surroundings very quickly, don't you?
I've not bumped my head on
It
it.
didn't
I
happen
have
on
ran
this
my
one.
shoulder into one.
Okay.
So sometimes I bonk my head when I'm going up or down, but
Yeah.
not on this. Like if I'm grabbing something else.
Yeah. So you have to be kind of careful with
Not
that.
with this, just like random
Yes.
times.
Okay. Any
Not
other
being
questions,
in the
girls?
studio.
So, which do you guys think now? Because we don't really have time to test them all out. Which ones do you guys think are going to hold your medal the best? We have the stickers. Oh, these two are the stickers. This one is our glue stick. This is our white glue, and this is our rubber cement.
I feel like the glue stick and the rubber cement are probably going to do better because the sticker maker, I feel like it could peel off.
Actually, my sticker maker so far has been pretty good. I've not had too much of a problem with it.
I feel like it'll be easier to
more
remove
of
the
them?
end of it.
Okay.
But
Ow, here's another question. How do you remove it when you have it on there?
Oh, but I feel like the rubber cement's going to be pretty difficult to get it off. You might have to soak the paper.
So the rubber
actually-
cement is the easiest for me to remove.
Because it's like rubber,
Yeah.
but then it's also like a cement, so it's kind of hard.
Yes, so I actually like removing the rubber cement one because that one, it doesn't like set up hard like the others.
Like
so this
real
one you can
cement.
just peel off and then you just rub off the rest of the rubber cement.
doesn't-
Some of
It's
them,
not
if they
because-
get stuck, would you just soak it in some water?
Yes, you do. That's exactly right. You
But
soak
won't
it
it
in
ruin the
water with the
paper?
glue. Yes,
That's what
but
you
that's after you've pierced it. That's kind of what you want. So yeah, so you would use your rubber cement to just peel off, and then the other two, you would just use water and soak off whatever's left.
With the
I feel
rubber
like-
cement, guess what?
What?
It doesn't harden up like cement.
You're right, it
The
doesn't.
glue stick and the normal glue, wouldn't they be about the same because they're both the same? It's just one's liquid.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to both be treated about the same. And yeah, I find that as long as I've prepped my material properly, then they're all going to hold pretty well. And I have pretty decent success with all of these. If you do not get your rubber cement dry before you stick them together, because remember I did rubber cement on both sides and then put them together. If you do not get it dry, then your pattern will continue to move and it will lift off much easier than if you had let it dry completely before you stuck them together. So some things to keep in mind.
Wait, glue or?
Yeah, because we glued it, right? It's rubber cement is a glue.
But then again, while you're sewing, your saw blade could like accidentally lift up the paper and peel it
Yes,
off.
yes, and that does happen.
That
So
what you're
you,
talking about?
yep,
Because I
yep,
can hear all of it.
yeah. But no, that totally happens. All right, you guys. So hopefully that helps, and hopefully, like I said, my new modem is going to be here hopefully on Friday or Saturday. We should have the new service set up hopefully by Monday. And then we will try our live streaming again next week. Until then, we will see you guys at the next video, maybe tomorrow. We'll just have to see what we have time-wise.
Have a happy unicorn day.
Have a good day, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.